Dr. Lata Shenava holds a doctoral degree in the role of families in the promotion of child mental health. She has been working in the field of special education, mentally challenged, for the last 28 years and in medical social work for the last 20 years. Dr. Shenava was awarded the Fulbright Junior Research Fellowship affiliated to the Center for Play Therapy, University of North Texas, where her areas of specialization were play and filial therapy and use of expressive methodologies. Ms. Shenava is an emotional intelligence certified therapist.
Namaskar. First of all, this divide between experts and, I would have liked to be in the creative side because I have a huge problem with this experts thing, So I have been in special education for 23 years and working with all children and families for the past 3 decades. And currently as an independent researcher, I didn't align with anybody because then you have to follow that script, And in the last 15 or 20 years of the research and clinical practice and life experiences with people, there are 2 issues that get me very, very agitated. I have to tell you this, children form 44% of our society, 44%, and nobody fights for them, okay? We have Save the Tiger, Save the Dalit, Save the Minority, Save the Majority, Save the, empower women, I don't know, save the tree, save the Amazon, whatever. But the most important and most fundamental resource of society, nobody lobbies for. So I'm here, I'm interested in adults, I'm interested in the mother, the woman, because not just as mother, she is the primary caregiver, not just of the family, but of society. Recently I was a panelist at Madhu Kishwar and Rajiv Malhotra's, NGO rational policy for NGOs, There was this big thing that happened. So finally I get the mic and they say, but how are children related to NGOs? The agitation comes from the fact that 23 years of working with special children, with severe disabilities, mixed disabilities, as well as from the lower socioeconomic strata, is that what terrifies me is that so-called normal children that we talk of, I see those problems in our so-called normal children today, what we used to deal with our mentally challenged children. Secondly, the categorization that we've talked of. This dividing in terms of societies, what bothers me is the Indian child, not this, special child. I met somebody the other day, he said, oh, autism is a big problem in our society. Is it? We're constantly talking of rape and child abuse and whatever. But in my PhD, what came up as the biggest risk factor was this decline in emotional investment, what you call decline in emotional and physical availability of parents. Somebody talked of safety nets at the NGO. Somebody talked of, censor boards at the NGO thing. Somebody talked of animal rights. I'm not coming here because, in India, families were safety nets. We have outsourced our children to the service industry today. And that is why we need the experts. I've been an expert, I have nothing against experts. But today, instead of listening to your mother-in-law or your nosy neighbor or some uncle or some wise person, we first come to the counselor or they come to the person with the PhD. Why I did my PhD? I did it very late in my life. At 42, I started my PhD work. Because today with a doctorate, people listen to me. But as the teacher of your child, or the principal of your school, or your neighbor, people will not listen to you. So the expert has become, so the psychiatrist, you see on the panel, oh, Dr. Harish Shetty, a dear friend of mine, but we have these great fights, about how the expert has taken over. And they come back and tell me, like, I'm from Mangalore, so brown rice is what we used to eat. We used to cook in coconut oil. We've turned out fine, no great health issues or whatever. But today, it is being sold as good, and it's 100 rupees a kilo in some exotic shop. So I have a problem with this whole expert thing that, and this fact of what is it rape? Is it autism? Is it learning disability? That is not the problem. what parents are doing to children today is what I term as child abuse. I have 2-year-olds going to 5 different classes, going for structured classes, kangaroo kids at play. You know, a child moves from an AC home to an AC lobby, to an AC school, to an AC car, to what I call parental taxi cells. You know, dropped from one activity, structured activity to another, and then horror of all horrors, to a structured playgroup. You know, Hillary Clinton wrote a book on It Takes a Village to Raise a Child. That was always our issue. Vasudhaiva Kutumbam is what? Everybody raised your child. You had multiple caregivers. You talked, your neighbor was your kaki, somebody else, you called your maid. Today they call them by name, small children. Everybody, you know, you travel by train. That's a good thing of, you know, using public transport. A child comes in, everybody has their 2-bit wisdom. Everybody will take care. Somebody will say, put a sweater. This is what we were. But if it comes from Hillary Clinton, yes. This is how we should all get together. And then we have play groups. No. I think the only thing that I have to say here is the biggest risk factor that I have seen in terms, and our movies, I think, you know, Deepa said, I thought of Amar Akbar Anthony immediately when she said, and I'm still in awe of Amar Akbar Anthony. I'm still in awe. I mean, look at Sholay. It's been put together by 5 different, you know, they've copied frame to frame for Sholay from English films. But I still watch Dharmendra and Mausi Ji Bhi Taiyar and Basanti Bhi Taiyar. I think it's phenomenal. Indians were, I mean, we have great rasa, we are interesting, we are creative. Why are we letting that out to bring in this great structure? Why research? It's all there. We had great indigenous systems. From 1750 to 1950, at 1750, and these are OECD reports, they are not from some saffron brigade or whatever. 1750, Angus Madison writes, we had 29% of the world's GDP. China and we were 57% of the world's GDP. In 1950, 200 years post-colonization, we become 1.6 and China becomes 6%. And the horror of all horrors, and something that worries me a great lot, is that in 1750, and today I checked out because I'm writing a paper for the Indo-Sweden Gender Network Initiative, is that we had 100,000 schools in each presidency. 100,000 schools in each presidency. Please check Dharampal's work. Gandhiji had made a statement at Chatham House in London. In the next 100 years also, we cannot revive the beautiful tree that the Britishers uprooted and let it perish. Today, we are 83% illiterate. So from a civilization of entrepreneurs and craftsmen, we have been transformed into a nation of clerks, security guards, and British sepoys. Why security guards? Because they are the highest, second highest employing agency in India today, which should make us think, because for me in my PhD, I'll end with this. The way we are raising children today, the bigger problem than rape and all that we talk about and autism is that there is a great decline in emotional intelligence and critical inquiry, not only of our children, but the parents and families who raise them. And secondly, 93.7% of women, and I did a study across 1,100 mothers across socioeconomic strata, rich, poor, literate, illiterate, 93.7% complained of fatigue. Fatigue. That is the problem, not rape or the other things. They are there, but they are the fringe issues. So I think if you're talking of child rearing, we are talking of parenting, I think the focus needs to reclaim our communities and families and bring back our traditional systems. We need to reclaim our civilizational heritage. Thank you. Reclaiming your civilizational heritage didn't mean going back to whatever. I think what is important is, you know, there is this serial, Diya Aur Bati Hum, on, which has the highest TRP ratings, and I think whether it's the top stars or whether it's whoever, I think the media has a huge role to play. There are a lot of people who get in touch with me regarding various issues because it's not about creating new research or theory or knowledge systems. It's just about dispelling ignorance. So, you know, there are these fancy words of, women's empowerment, or what would you say? You know, equality between men and women. And there's this great article written by Meg Luxton. She comes from Canada, which has the highest HDI indicators. And she says, you know, they talk of the woman in terms of her role as worker and mother, even for Canada. And she raises a protest about it. Because she says, you know, you are assigning the woman to be one in terms of the material value she carries, and the second as the caregiver. Now, what happens to this is that her role is taken to as then the rights, what they fight for, become unequal wages, paternity leave, and those kind of issues, which she's not happy about. And she says you need to get something called the social reproductive theory, which says that, you know, Weber's individualism brought back this hand over children to families. And then she says, no, you should not hand over children to families. It is the social or collective responsibility of the society to raise children. That's what we always did. So when the media comes, and if you watch Diya Aur Bati Hum, all these issues of pay, and the favorite daughter-in-law is the one who negotiates her own spaces, who gets her mother-in-law's approval, but yet follows her dream. She does what she wants to, which is and there is no, you know, mollycoddling or whatever. She fights fair and fair, but she negotiates her spaces. There is no aggression, and that's how collectivist societies always worked. You didn't fight for rights. You were conscious of your responsibilities, and then, and I think Balika Vadhu does that to a large extent. There are some issues that I have a problem with, but largely dealing and negotiating spaces come very, very strongly, and that is why I think it's still the longest, and I watch it regularly, and I feel this collectivistic, you know, moving back, because this is what the West is also doing. They are moving back from individualism to collectivism. So I think the media plays such a huge role, because I know mothers-in-law or husbands or neighbors or, you know, whatever, sisters-in-law, treating their women or children or mothers-in-law better after watching Diya Aur Bati Hum. So I think media has a huge role to play, and I think